wonder how our friends in the EU respond to a ransomware attack? Welcome to another episode of A Little Privacy, Please. I'm Jenny Holmes, and with me is Jason Kravitz. Together, we lead Nixon Peabody's cybersecurity and privacy team. Today, we have Louise Mehl joining us. Louise is a partner with Implement Consulting Group in Copenhagen, Denmark. A self-proclaimed privacy nerd at heart, Louise helps companies succeed in developing ambitious data protection, cybersecurity, and information security programs. Louise, welcome. To start, as Jason and I know all too well, ransomware attacks are unfortunately an all too common scenario for companies in the U.S. Are ransomware attacks really prevalent in the EU?
Yeah, absolutely, Jenny. They really are a great concern in the EU. Just last month here in Denmark, in the northern Jutland, we had a targeted attack on 5 schools in Denmark, where sensitive personal data, including information about minors, was compromised. And it was evaluation of children's mental health, learning disabilities, it was employee conversations and salaries, and just a lot of common information between teachers and parents and kids. It's just that when the attack was actually discovered a month before it was disclosed to the public. So we're also, I think, sometimes we're embarrassed about being attacked. And before we actually reveal it and do something about it, it can take a long time, making the damage even bigger.
When Jenny and I have a client that's been hit with a ransomware attack, typically the starting point for us is we assemble a team, and that team is going to be comprised of legal counsel, the sort of key decision makers within the company, including the IT folks and the chief technology officer and that sort of thing. And also then we get the forensic investigation team, and usually that's an outside vendor. And if the company is lucky enough to have a cyber insurance policy, we're going to involve them very early in the process as well. How does that differ from how a ransomware attack is addressed in the EU?
Not a lot. Well, I think it's a bit more rare to actually have cyber insurances in the EU because they tend to be very expensive. And you don't find many insurance companies who want to insure cyber attacks. It's becoming more common. But when facing a ransomware attack, just like the one mentioned, where it's also involving personal data, an initial common step is really to notify the data protection authorities and, of course, law enforcement. So to act in accordance with both GDPR and other regulations at the same time.
That's interesting because depending on the situation in the United States, we often encourage our clients to notify the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, through their Internet Crimes Complaint Center online. There are no real timelines for requirements to do so, unless, of course, there's a national security threat. But what are the timelines for notification? I believe they're much stricter in the EU.
They absolutely are. In some areas, we do have, if it involves personal data, we have the GDPR's 72 hours notification. We also have the coming NIS2 cybersecurity framework, which mandates also 24 hours of notification. So we're looking into very, very strict notification timelines. But on the contrary, if you don't have a critical infrastructure, if it does not involve personal data, then I think the outlook is somewhat what you describe. You would call local law enforcement, you would get into investigations. Of course, the pressure is always on if you're losing confidential and important data, but the requirements are not that strict unless we're looking at personal and confidential or critical infrastructure data.
So it seems like there's a fundamental difference between the U.S., where the emphasis is on getting more information before the notification, versus the EU, where it seems like the notification comes first and the information is sort of investigated second. Is that fair?
If the attack it's not just any attack, of course, it's an attack of a certain size and of certain amounts of data. So you do make that assessment first before notifying the authority, but you should be able to make that within the first 72 hours, yes.
So Louise, switching gears just a little, I know you're very passionate about fighting for privacy of children. Can you talk about some of the causes you've supported?
I mean, it's a cause very close to my heart. I have 3 children of my own. What I do is I conduct free workshops with parents and schools and various volunteer organizations where I educate them about critical aspects of social media safety. So basically, it's not very scientific. I go to the classrooms, I go to the different schools who ask me to come, and I have these little, I write on the board, or I have little like flip charts with me. It's very analog. And I just want to raise the awareness about the challenges that children face online, the potential risks of interacting with online predators, and also the importance of information sharing. So besides them just sharing their personal information about addresses or where they are or their interests, also thinking a long time and a lot before sharing pictures of themselves and videos online. I really try to empower the adults with knowledge and strategies to protect their children, because I see that often adults like me, just general parents in general, they give up on digital social media because they don't understand it, or they don't want to interfere, or they're just not present in the same platforms that their children are.
Yeah, no, that's really important work. So Louise, I've got a couple of additional questions for you that are a little bit off topic. Danes are crazy about butter. They put butter on just about everything, including sandwiches. Is there any kind of sandwich that you refuse to put butter on?
No, I love butter. I'm one of the ones who I love butter. I sometimes put so much butter on my bread that my husband thinks it's cheese.
I think that's going to do it for this episode of A Little Privacy, Please. Thanks so much to Louise for making us smarter, and we will see you next time.
So much in the Danish DNA that I don't think you will find a Danish home without Lego, actually.